Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell, and I'm flying solo tonight. My typical Monday guest, Jason Cameron, is under the weather tonight. We are going to try to do a podcast tomorrow night together. Hopefully, he'll be feeling better by then. I had a day of sickness a bit yesterday, but feeling great today, and gung-ho to do a podcast tonight, but Jason had to bow out. So yeah, I guess I'll do a short one. Just wanted to come in and talk about the weekend of sports like usual. Fun weekend. There wasn't a huge amount of stuff on with the NFL now finally done. It's kind of crazy. NBA, usually there's a ton of games to talk about and go over and get ready for, but Thursday was the last game of the regular season for the All-Star break. We had the All-Star festivities, which were pretty fun still and kind of cool. I might go over it a little bit here. And then UFC Fight Night 219, Vegas 69. Not the best, most stacked card, but ended up being pretty good card all in all. And I was pretty impressed with a lot of performances. We had the beginning of XFL 3.0. They have not had an official game since 2020, had to take a hiatus over the COVID outbreak and pandemic, and now they're back. I actually watched a little bit of it and was pretty impressed with some of the stuff I saw. I don't know if they'll be able to sustain it and keep it going. They definitely have not over those first few seasons, but it was a pretty good beginning, and I'll talk about that a little bit. Coming to you on a holiday Monday. This is Family Day in Canada. I love that that's a holiday. Family is super important to almost everybody on the planet, and it's good to have a day where you can spend some time with the family and celebrate it. Jason was with his family on the weekend. My local family. I guess I was here celebrating some time off and had a nice weekend. And down south, our American viewers and watchers and loyal subscribers and everybody is President's Day. So I'm not sure. I don't know much about that holiday. I guess celebrating the 45 guys that have run the country there over their history, and I guess a nice excuse for a day off and a nice long weekend. So as I mentioned, All-Star festivities this weekend. Kind of fun. The slam dunk competition kind of was the one that seemed to get the most headlines, seemed to garner the biggest talk over the weekend. The young guy, McClung, a guy that's only played 2 NBA games coming into the season, hasn't cracked the NBA roster quite yet until he just got a recent call up to Philly on a 10-day contract out of the G League. He's included, thankfully, into the NBA dunk contest, and he wins it. Gets a couple of 50-point scores on some of his really good dunks. I thought it was great, but it's something that's maybe going the way of the dodo bird, old reference there. A thing that we're seeing better dunks online with YouTubers, basketball aficionados that practice day in, day out to try to get clicks, views online, and we're seeing fantastic dunks. They're including like 4 NBA players, a couple rounds, and expecting them to do great. I don't enjoy when an NBA player gets shot after shot after shot after shot when he blows dunks. I think that's wrong, and it's just not the way it should be. I think that you get a shot, you miss it. Oh well, on to the next. Maybe they get more than the 2 shots at it. So if they blow 1 or 2 dunks, they're still possibly in it. Maybe you get the top scores out of 4 dunks or something like that. But Talking to others, I have a recommendation that the NBA includes guys like YouTubers, includes maybe college guys, high school kids. Maybe we have a couple of competitions in the college ranks, a competition in high school, maybe some YouTubers get in a park in New York, LA, somewhere, and show off their skills. And the guys that win those competitions get to compete against some NBA players. It might just inject some enthusiasm and more fun into the competition, and it might be amazing. Imagine being a high school kid and all of a sudden getting to get on the floor in front of a sold-out audience at the All-Star game and getting to compete against some of your heroes, some of the guys that are already in the league. And yeah, I don't know. Mac McClung is really not an NBA yet, but won the competition and did so, spectacularly. 6'2". Some of the dunks were really impressive, but I have seen better in other things online, other places. It's going to be hard to keep one-upping, I think, for NBA players who are more focused on their overall game, not just dunk spectacular moves and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I think my favorite part of the whole entire weekend was the honoring of LeBron James and getting him recognized for becoming the all-time scoring leader in NBA history, passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And yeah, just starting to set a new standard. And they brought him out. They brought Kareem out, which was amazing. And then they brought number 3 out, Karl the Mailman Malone, the hometown guy from Utah, where the game was played. All 3 of them were there, and most sports, can't do that. Those guys have long since passed away or are just not there. So you've got the top 3 scorers of all time on stage. Great to see. I'm okay with Karl Malone now. We had some problems back in the day, and yeah, I held a bit of a maybe a little bit of a grudge. I don't know what to call it. I just was really frustrated with Karl Malone and the way he dealt with me and the media over the years. And him and I had, unfortunately, a big blow up, a fight where I ended up getting kicked out of the locker room. And yeah, I always just sort of wasn't a fan of him. But, his on the court stuff, unbelievable, incredible career. Him and John Stockton were those, Utah Jazz legends that really put them on the map for many, many years. And he had a phenomenal career, and good to see him recognized. So that was awesome. That was a really good tribute, and great to see the NBA stepping up and recognizing such a massive accomplishment and being able to have the top 3 guys there. Nice photo, nice picture for many people to have. Also, the 3-point contest was great. Usually is really, really good because you just start to see these sharp shooters and the guys that are just super proficient at that. Steph Curry just, coming out there, winning it. Klay Thompson getting the victory last year, getting revenge. Getting to see Damien Lillard this time. I just can't believe how amazing he is at 3-point shots. I think there's 3 guys right now currently in the NBA that are just guys that I just have to watch shoot the 3-pointer, and it's Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Damian Lillard. But Lillard can shoot it from so far distance, but yeah, he was the winner. Really good performance by Tyrese Halliburton, 31 points in the qualifying round, and really was the star of that opening round. Ended up finishing 2nd place, and Tyrese is becoming a really amazing player. That trade from Sacramento to Indiana, I thought, wow, tough to get rid of Tyrese Halliburton. Great to get Sabonis, but tough to get rid of such a young, amazing guy, and he's proving that he is a phenomenal player. Damian Lillard got the 3-point winning shot in the actual All-Star game. It was finally Team Giannis beating Team LeBron. LeBron was 5-0 as a captain going into this one. Both Giannis and LeBron were injured. Giannis took the court for maybe 10, 15 seconds, got a dunk, fouled, and immediately left the game because of his sprained wrist in the game right before the All-Star break. And it was taped up. I didn't want to injure himself any further, so opted out of the game immediately. LeBron played a little bit more. I think he played about 14 minutes. But he injured his finger as he went up to block a shot. His finger ended up catching up into the net a little bit and hit the rim. And I think it was maybe the pinky or the ring finger, and it seemed to it got sprained, I guess, and he had to opt out. Hopefully it's not more serious. He might have to miss some games with the Lakers, which would be pretty bad. Let's see. I'm going to look quickly and see when their next scheduled game is. Games aren't until this Thursday. Oh, yeah. They play the Warriors on Thursday. We'll see if LeBron can heal up before that happens. But the game was pretty horrible, pretty awful to watch. I hate basketball when there's no defense, and this game really didn't have any. The only defense we really did see was when Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, teammates on the Celtics, were mano a mano on the court. The other players just went to the other side of the court and let them do their one-on-one. Lots of dribbling, lots of jukes and moves, and tried to get open to shoot some long distance shots. I couldn't believe Jaylen Brown would say give the too short symbol once he shot over Tatum. Tatum gave it back to him later. Tatum had one dribble that he couldn't control and went out of bounds. And immediately when he came back down the other end of the court, he launched a three and hit it. Two of the best players in the league, best team in the league this year. Fun to see them actually battle against each other and have some fun with it. And Tatum was the star of the game, getting 55 points. Amazing performance. And he got the MVP with that 55. Because there are so many talented players, so many guys get minutes. A guy like Tatum didn't play as much as he would really in a regular season game, so 55 is quite the feat, and he was able to get it. The Kobe Bryant MVP trophy, pretty phenomenal. He set a record for this game too, the youngest Celtics player to ever get his fourth All-Star game appearance, which is absolutely phenomenal because Boston's one of those top two franchises that have had so many amazing talents and superstars and players that would have made the All-Star game over the years. So way to go, Jason. And he's a superstar, obviously, with Boston being the best team in the league, looking absolutely amazing the last few seasons with him and Brown finally figuring it out together. And that was great. A couple other moments on the weekend that I loved, seeing Jose Alvarado win the MVP for the Rising Stars challenge. That was great. The only guy included that was not drafted, he has just been determined and continues on with the New Orleans Pelicans. It was great to see him. He called his shot. He walked over to Donovan Mitchell and said, "Hey, I'll bet you that I will score the game-winning shot. Somebody gives it to me, I'm going to nail the last three-pointer. If I do, you buy me a dinner." He got it. He was definitely really confident, and I kind of love his nickname, Grand Theft Alvarado, because he's so good at stealing the ball and has had a phenomenal year. I think 39 points was his season high, career high. And he's another one of those young Pelican players to really watch out for. I love that he brought his daughter on and celebrated a lot with her. And he's one of those guys that we should keep our eyes on and watch him a lot. I also loved the celebrity game in certain spurts. I don't know if a lot of those people could be called celebrities really locally. That's maybe a mean thing to say, but um, the one guy that really stood out, he got MVP, was DK Metcalf. What an incredible athlete for the Seattle Seahawks. The size, the speed, the absolute amazing hands he has. I guess, he's played the game. I don't know too much about his basketball playing career, but he looked great. Got 20 points, 10 rebounds, 4 blocks, and he was a dominant player. It was pretty beautiful, nice crystal basketball trophy that he got handed to him, and it was kind of competitive and fun and neat the way they had it. It was the two main owners that we know about for the Utah Jazz, Ryan Smith and Dwayne Wade, were opposing coaches. At the end of that game too, the wrestler, The Miz, he hit a half-court shot that would have tied the game, and it was released just milliseconds after the time had run out. The red light goes on around the backboard, and you saw it still on the tips of his fingers. It was amazing. It was 81-78 win for Team Ryan Smith, but it would have been, I guess some overtime. I don't know what kind of rules or whatever they had for that, but it was actually fun. There was not the biggest celebrities there, but some of the ones that were included were fun and played pretty good. So the only thing that I can say really negative about the weekend is I'm not a fan of Utah. I never have been, and I probably never will be. I don't really like that city too much, and I wish that it'll be another 30-40 years before they get it. I got a lot of reasons why. I won't go into them at this time. Maybe tomorrow night when I have a talk with Jason. But not a fan of Utah. But and the other thing was the skills challenge. Oh, that was pretty bad. They really were having a horrifically bad shooting display. I don't know why, but nobody could sink a bucket. There was weird challenges, passing and a relay, and I don't know. They keep messing that thing up. They got to get to a better format and just stick to it, not keep changing it every year. It was confusing. Started watching and seeing the rules put up and like thinking to myself, do I know what's going on? Did they give me enough time to know exactly all the rules? And it was weak. It was not good at all. They gotta they gotta just scrap it or get a better format, and everybody knows what's going on, and more fun, easier to cheer for. But really, all in all, pretty good. I hope they can figure out how to bring some defense into the All-Star game, because basketball without defense isn't that fun to watch. I know the demographic isn't me, and I'm not the target audience that they're going for. They're trying to go for young people and stuff, and it is fun sometimes to see some bounces off the backboard and some great dunks and things, and obviously good 3-point shots. But man, there was just so many uncontested dunks and layups, and it really isn't true basketball. It's not even kind of like playground basketball, because people are trying to stop you as you're going for the hoop, but not in this game. And I wish there's some way of bringing that back in. Jason mentioned it tonight. The last real All-Star game we saw that really resembled a game seemed to be the Michael Jordan days when Kobe was there, and it was really competitive, and they really wanted to outdo each other, but not anymore. And I don't know. Let's hope they change it. Let's hope they figure it out, because it's weak the way it is, that's for sure. I do want to mention before we get into the UFC, I want to talk about the UFC briefly, but the XFL launched this weekend. And I was pretty impressed. There was actually, some competitive games, some games that, I thought that were not bad. There was a few former NFL players playing, some, kind of high profile coaches. It was all right. The thing that I liked the most was the game I saw yesterday, and I was watching it, and it wasn't a classic game going down the stretch, but all of a sudden, um, St. Louis against San Antonio, and St. Louis was down. They scored a late touchdown to, get into the mix to possibly get a win. Then they got a chance to go for a 3-point convert. So I don't think there's any kicks after a touchdown. You convert with a 1-point convert from about the 2-yard line, a 2-point convert from maybe the 5, and a 3-point convert from the 10. And so they went for it and got the 3-point convert. So they're able to get 9 points. I believe it was 15-9 at that time. And then this is a great thing. I've always really, really, really loved the NFL, but there's some rules that I just hate. And the one rule that's always been bugged me about the NFL is that 45 seconds get to go off the clock after every play that's in bounds. And it does not lend to a lot of great competitive finishes to the NFL. I can't believe how many times we see a game end on a kneel down, the worst play in sports. There's nothing worse in sports than the kneel down to finish off a game instead of something exciting. And if a team gets the ball with about 3 minutes left, all they got to do is get 1 first down and they win the game. If a team has unfortunately had maybe a 1 or 2 timeouts earlier in the game to make their play call work, then they're even worse off. It can be 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and that the thing can just go down and down and down. 1 first down wins the game, and then they kneel down for 2 or 3 times, and it's over. Well, XFL came up with this brilliant plan. So most NFL teams, if they score a late touchdown and they need to get the ball back to try to score again, they go for the onside kick. And it never works. Like almost never works. Like maybe 5% of the time, something ridiculous. The stats are just horrible. It doesn't work. Well, you can do that in the XFL. You can go for the onside kick it at the normal place and try to convert it. Or one time in the 4th quarter, you can elect to take the ball at 4th and 15 from the 25-yard line, and you can try to convert and use the clock, how much time's left on the clock, and march down and try to get that score to tie, to win, whatever. So San Antonio and St. Louis are in this battle. St. Louis decides, yes, I'm gonna go for the 4th and 15. Their quarterback, AJ McCarron, fades back, finds the receiver pole on the sideline right by the first down marker, gets 16 yards, gets the first down. They march it down, end up scoring a touchdown and winning the game. And it was great. It was great. I actually was like, holy cow, that was an exciting finish to a football game. And there is way too often in the NFL where we're just seeing a yawn fest at the end. 3-4 yards, cloud of dust, 3-4 yards, cloud of dust, 3-4 yards, cloud of dust. Oh, first down. Oh, we won the game. Kneel. Why would you not want to adopt some exciting finishes and rules that will be able to employ and get these types of finishes? This was great. I don't know anything about the XFL yet. I decided I would really look into it a little bit today and try to be able to have some things to talk about. I'm going to get into it way more with Jason and ask him, if he'll give it a shot. I love that rule. I love that The Rock's involved. I worked with The Rock before, and I can't say enough great things about The Rock. and I think he brings a lot to the table for this league. And I think anything that he's involved in, I support, and I think a lot of people do as well. This is a 10-week season. It goes until the end of April. The playoffs are the last week of April, and then the XFL final is May the 13th. I'm looking forward to it. I'll get into more stats and a few more things with Jason tomorrow, probably, and give you guys maybe something to follow for next weekend. There's only 8 teams in the league, so they play 4 games every weekend. This coming weekend, I guess there's a Thursday game, a Saturday game, and 2 Sunday games. I believe that's what the schedule is like. So give it a shot. I mentioned the names of the teams last week. I'll run them down again tomorrow, and maybe you can pick a team to go for. And I definitely hope I can get down to a game in Seattle. They've got the Sea Dragons team, and they got a few guys that you would recognize. I saw Hines Ward was the quarterback of San Antonio, former Pittsburgh Steeler great. Bob Stutz, Oklahoma, amazing Oklahoma Sooners longtime coach, is the coach in this league. I saw Josh Gordon there. A couple of former NFL quarterbacks are in the league. There's a few guys in the NFL from the NFL that you'll recognize. So let's see. USFL, I didn't enjoy their season last year. They kick off April 15th this coming year. Last year every single game was in Birmingham. I don't know how that's gonna work, how that could work for all these teams, all these guys. Never had a home game. The only team that had home games were Birmingham. Not cool. This year it's not it's not as bad as last year, but there will only be 4 neutral sites where they'll hold all the games. New Jersey Generals, okay, that's an old USFL team. They will be playing all their games in Canton, Ohio. How are you going to be a New Jersey Generals fan when you never get to see them live? That's not great. That's not cool. They will be playing in, as I said, 4 cities, and only 3 teams will be playing in the cities they represent. So weird. I don't know. Maybe the XFL can work. So many leagues have tried up against the mighty NFL, and even north of the border here, our Canadian Football League has struggled and suffered in trying to compete, or going up head to head sometimes with the NFL. It's not a wise move, and I don't know, but NFL's not going. If you're just a football fan, if you're not a fan of hockey, basketball, baseball's not kicked off yet. Maybe this will give you a football fix, and I think if they can expand a bit more, get a few more teams, they can get some sponsorship and some dollars. I was pretty impressed with the crowd I saw there yesterday, and I'll have to look into all the crowds, but and I do think they got to get a little bit better on their website and the things that they put out there for stats and stuff. It was very difficult to find the stats I was looking for today, but maybe for tomorrow I'll be able to find that, and maybe I just have to place a call and see if I'm looking in the wrong spot. But anyway, why don't I just briefly talk about the UFC? We had another UFC card from Vegas. As I mentioned off the top, this was UFC Fight Night 219, Vegas 69. I can't believe 69 events in Vegas out of the Apex there. That's insane. I wasn't excited about the main event. Late replacement, Talia Santos was injured, and she was supposed to be fighting Erin Blanchfield. Erin Blanchfield has really just emerged over the past couple of years in the UFC. One of the youngest fighters in the UFC at 23 years of age, 10th ranked, and an up-and-comer. Really has had some great performances. I loved her performance against Molly Meatball McCann, where she got her into the crucifix and just continued to hammer her until the referee had to stop it. Molly was on quite the rise. Her and Patty Pimblett were, two of those stars that the UFC seemed to be wanting to rise up the ranks. And she did not really look good against Blanchfield. Blanchfield came in and took the victory. I thought Talia Santos was going to be tough opponent for her, and I thought look out, it might be challenging. But I thought when Talia went out and they replaced her with Jessica Andrade, I thought, oh man, this is going to be one-sided. This is going to be a really incredibly tough performance. I thought Andrade was step up from Santos, former strawweight champion, a woman that's incredibly physically imposing and intimidating, very strong. She's won in 3 different weight classes. Her only losses at 135 were against former champions, people that have held the belt before. So I wasn't expecting big things from Erin Blanchfield that night, but was I ever wrong? Did she ever prove a lot of people wrong? Amazing performance. She was able to get the takedown, really quickly transitioned to the back, was able to sink in the rear naked choke, having Andrade on her stomach, and was forced to tap on her. Man, it was textbook, incredible, very amazing performance. And she has called out the winner of the fight in less than 2 weeks. We've got the women's flyweight championship against Valentina Shevchenko and Alexa Grasso. She's called out the winner of that fight. She wants to fight for the belt. So usually a number 10, beating a number 3 is a huge accomplishment, and deserves to be ranked maybe top 5. But to get that immediate title shot, not sure. But man, with that performance, she just might have done it. She gets $50K bonus for it, and suddenly is just thrown into the spotlight of someone to look for in the women's flyweight division, but also just in the women's game all around. And I don't know. I just was pretty blown away by it, and I think most people too were too. Can't wait to hear Jason Cameron's comments on it, and anybody else that's listening and watching here now. Tell me what you thought, because I'm never usually super jacked up about a women's fight, a women's main event fight. There hasn't been a lot of competitive women's fights for me to get too excited about in the last couple years here. And this one really surprised me and was awesome. I don't know if this changes much for Andrade. I think she was really clamoring for Weili Zhang, who she lost to not too long back. She wants to really get a shot at her and get the belt there. We'll see if she gets that still. I'm not sure. I don't know. If this took too much shine off the, what does it say? Shine off the rose? No, that's not it. Smell off the rose? I don't know. But I don't know if she took too far of a step back from this loss. We'll see. She was a late replacement, only I think a week's notice. So UFC seems to be very giving on people that will salvage fights like this, especially a main event, and come in on short notice. Not her typical weight class that she's fighting in these days lately, and she did, and we'll see. I think it could shake up this division. I think a lot of people saw fights sort of being matched up with the top of the division, but all of a sudden number 10 comes in, beats number 3, and really has asked for a title shot that she might get. The light heavyweight co-main event, I was kind of looking forward to this. I like Jordan Wright, Beverly Hills Ninjas, pretty entertaining. Usually has a smile on his face the entire fight, and looks like he's having the best time of his life out there. I don't know too much about Zach Pauga, but I do know that he was an NFL fullback and really was, highly touted coming out of college as a guy that, had all the skills needed for the NFL running game. And it just didn't work out for him. He went and fought in the tough and was a finalist at heavyweight. He, seemed a bit undersized maybe. And so, now he's fighting at 205 light heavyweight division, but he was really good at his clinch control, his ground game up against the octagon, just pressed the fight the whole entire time, just did not give Jordan Wright any room, any opportunity to get his fights off. And it was just back to the cage, a little bit of fighting at distance, back to the cage, just ground out, and a really, really great fight. And was able to get the unanimous decision. The guys that he fights on a regular basis are Alistair Overeem and Curtis Blades. So, two heavyweights that he has in his corner and his camp. And, that should bode well for him moving forward. Two of the best of all time. Wright is now 0-5 as a UFC dog. He was an underdog in this fight, and we'll see where he turns from here. This was a tough fight, and he was overmatched. Was not able to get off much at all, and a big win for Pauga. So, who else do I want to talk about? Jamel Polks got a really great victory. This was his UFC debut. This Stormtrooper, love the nickname, really was able to come in and beat a very tough, durable heavyweight in Josh Parisian. Big boy. He's been in a lot of UFC wars, but Jamal was just better. He got a big takedown, got the mount, big elbows. Was just able to dominate on the ground. And the only thing that that turned out really bad for him was that he broke his hand early in the second round, he said, so he couldn't really throw it much anymore. He was having a hard time even doing anything with it. So he was trying to get those takedowns so he could just try to dominate. Love his camp, Syndicate MMA, really, really good. And Parisian didn't come out unscathed either. Threw a front kick early on and immediately looked down, and we didn't find out why until later on that he broke his toes off that kick. And so that might have had a bit of a reason for his loss and for his performance. Tough. This is a tough game. This is no joke. A lot of guys end up in the hospital after these events, and both guys would have had to go to the hospital to tend to their broken digits and hand. They're tough. Yeah. So, okay. This light heavyweight fight that happened before that fight was really unbelievably bad. William Knight, I don't know what the hell happened to you. Your fight was Saturday night. You were fighting a guy, a Polish guy. His name was Marcin Prachnio. I'm not sure why, but you went into the cage, but you didn't show up. You weren't even there. Like it was like you were a punching bag, a kicking bag to be more exact. You took so many kicks to your legs that I don't think you're going to be walking well this week. You are a massive, massive light heavyweight, short and incredibly built, but man, did you get beat up bad in this fight. Prachnio had the perfect game plan to just completely nullify you. You can't put on performances like this and expect to be in the UFC. I heard that from my dad today, and he's 100% right. We do not want to see a performance that lopsided and that one-sided. You had to change your game plan. After that first round, after that second round, after the first minute, after something. You just did not show up. You barely landed any strikes, and you just took a absolute beating. You couldn't land one of those bombs on him. And, hey, man, you got to make adjustments. If the guy has a perfect game plan, you got to disrupt it. You got to just rush in. You got to get some takedowns. You got to push him up against the cage like we saw earlier, as I mentioned. You got to do something, but you can't have these type of performances and expect to have the UFC matchmakers want to put you in there anymore, because this was a good waste of 15 minutes of my life and a lot of other UFC guys that a lot of people that want to see competitive fights. This was not one of those. And there'll be a lineup of 1,000 guys that would have tried harder and put more effort into this. But I think your corner was imploring you to do something different, but you just didn't for some reason. I hope you can explain yourself, because this was tough to watch, and we never want to see that ever again. So back to the drawing board. But Prachnio, hey, props to you. Very good performance. Just 15 minutes using that reach advantage of your legs and just completely nullifying his offense 100% by just kick after kick after kick after kick. It was great. So okay, this card had two real legends in the sport: Jessica Andrade, who has a lot of women's records, and Jim Miller, who has a lot of the men's records. This guy is an absolute legend. He fought on fight card 100. He fought on fight card 200, and now wants to fight on fight card 300. He's pushing 40 years old. This was fight number 60 or something in his career. Let's see. No, 50. Let me see. What is that? 53. 44 appearances in the 41 appearances in the UFC. Man, just on and on and on. I could just start talking about all the records that Jim Miller has, and you might go to sleep. Might be talking for a while, but great to see a guy that's still competitive. He was on a 3-fight win streak coming into this one. Really had been looking great. Came against a guy, Alexander Hernandez, who really just had a little more accurate, crisper shots. Was just winning in that stand-up fight that it became. I think that Miller should have tried for takedowns a little bit more. I think he would have been able to get that fight to the ground and would have had an opportunity to win this fight. But the damage that Hernandez inflicted on Miller was very obvious, and he deserved he deserved the unanimous decision. 30-27 across the board. Should have been 29-28 on one of the judges' scorecards. That first round was super tight and competitive, but I don't know. I think Hernandez was able to really look great. Miller did have a chance. He was trying to get a rear naked choke sunk in, but never got it under the chin, and Hernandez was able to reverse it and win the fight. Factory X, great camp out of Colorado, and I love Hernandez in a lot of ways. Young up and comer. He is more of a 145er, so I see him going there, and we'll just see how that works. But love seeing Jim Miller. I know he's gonna keep fighting and having opportunities to showcase his skills, and you just keep pushing the records up. He was passing. They just kept showing, fight time in the octagon. He's passed into 6th. He's passed into 5th. He's passed into 4th or 5th now, all time. And just great. I love the legends, and awesome to see them continuing. We've lost way too many in the last couple of years to retirement and old age. And yeah, great. I'm glad he was included on this card. Okay, the feature fight in the prelims was Nazim Sabakov against Evan Elder, and unfortunately, this was fight of the night. Both guys got 50K. Great stand-up war. What a striking war. This was super impressive, and even more impressive that it got fight of the night with a technical knockout. Was ended with a really brutal cut over the right eye. Doctor stopped it just 38 seconds into the third round, but those first two rounds were incredible battle. Both guys were going toe to toe, and I loved it. Really glad that they looked back and decided that was fight of the night. Impressive. Both of them were 7-1 coming into this fight. Sabakov leaves 8-1. Edler, I'm not. This did not bring it down the notch. Unfortunately, that cut was pretty brutal, and they had to stop. Did I say Edler? Elder, sorry, Elder. I've heard Sadikov might be fighting Mahashete next. That would be great. Elder possibility, real possibility. Mike Breeden is in his future. Might be what we see next. But this was by far my favorite fight of the night, and enjoyed it a ton. Okay, we have a women's bantamweight fight early on in the prelims. No, one of the feature fight in the prelims, sorry. And Mora Buenaselva, she came in, gets a really amazing, spectacular finish. Wins 50K for it. She took the fight to the ground, just controlled her, and then Landsberg sort of briefly seemed to get out of it, and then she was able to Silva was able to get her leg, sink in a knee bar, and force the tap from Lena. Great performance from Silva, and love watching her fight. She's very talented and very good at what she does, and gets 50K for her incredible performance. So what else? Should I go down the entire card? Nah, maybe not. I do want to really talk about a couple of guys. I do want to talk about the light heavyweight battle between Felipe Lins and Ovince St. Preux. St. Preux has had a phenomenal career, competed against John Jones for the light heavyweight championship, former really talented football player, and has had a really long and distinguished career. He's had 8 bonuses. The guy that's got 4 Von Flue choke wins, I think, out of 8 in the history of the UFC. Been in the UFC for like 10 years, and has really had a decorated career. Well, Felipe Lins, he waited very short time. Like, he waited about 10-15 seconds just to get that opening, and he just powered that left hand. You wouldn't even call it a jab, just a straight left, and boom, he knocked OSP off balance and staggered him a bit towards the cage, and then Lins just unleashed an assault. He just started throwing everything at him, and it didn't last long. What was the final tally? Let me see how long. 49 seconds. Yeah, 49 seconds. It was just an absolute beatdown. OSP was trying to get away, and he scrambled to his right, and the last final shot, Lins landed a left and dropped him, and that was it. The referee jumped in and stopped it from getting worse. Wow. Felipe Lins, this was a hell of a performance. Just an absolute beatdown, and he has some great fights in the future after that performance. Everybody would have loved it. I thought he deserved 50K, should have got it. Not sure why he didn't, but AJ Fletcher, birthday boy. It was his birthday on Saturday night, and he gets the big submission win. Really amazing performance. He got the guillotine choke, and I didn't think he was going to be able to pull it off. It seemed like he got it in, but it wasn't gonna force a tap. Then he seemed to make an adjustment, another one somehow, and all of a sudden, wow, he was able to get the tap and get that victory. After the fight, he said, "Jesus, I needed this so bad." He said, "I have $100 in my bank account, and I didn't know what the heck I was gonna do. I didn't even know if I'd have enough money to pay all the charges from my hotel room leaving here this weekend." And $100 in his bank account down to that last. I think I would have floated him 50K, or not floated him, just would have given him 50K, Dana, if you were around. I helped this guy out because great performance, birthday, down to his last $100 in his life, and was able to pull off the win. Hopefully he got paid well on his show bonus and his win bonus. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe we'll look that up today to see if he's got enough to tide him over for a really long time, or he's got to get back in the cage right away to make it happen. But good to see a guy change his financial situation just like that against a really tough fighter in Tembo Garimbo. So fight that kicked off the card, Clayton Carpenter got the nice submission win. Just great. He gets the takedown. Juan got the takedown. Clayton sort of landed in. When they landed on the ground, Clayton was able to get him into a triangle choke that looked pretty good at the beginning, but Juan Camilo was able to shift out of that, and all of a sudden an armbar presented himself. He couldn't get that just because of the way the angle worked, and then he was able to reverse that, get up on top, and then got the rear naked choke. Once he got to his back, transitioned to his back once he shifted over and got the rear naked choke. Chris Tognoni had to stop it, and nice way. He's out at MMA Lab in Arizona. Love that camp. Another guy that's a young prospect that should be able to start moving up the ranks and going. So fun card, loved it. Can't wait to talk to Jason about it. I've mentioned it so many times on this podcast that you look at the card on paper and you think, not that great. Am I going to dedicate my whole Saturday night to this? Luckily this card was an earlier card, 1 p.m. prelims Pacific, 4 p.m. Main card Pacific. So this was over by 7 o'clock, even a bit sooner than that. And it was good. It was actually really good. So happy that I watched it. Happy I could break it down for you a little bit, and looking forward to Jason's breakdowns tomorrow. I guess I'll probably talk less, so you can watch his breakdowns and see our comparisons to. We've got a UFC card this coming Saturday. Also early card, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Pacific for the main card. And this is Nikita Krylov against Ryan Superman Spann. I love this light heavyweight battle. These guys are both very skilled. They say styles make fights, and I think these the two styles will clash perfectly, and we're going to get a hell of a fight. The co-main, Brendan All-In Allen. This guy is one of my favorite fighters in the UFC, and always brings it. It's going to be great. We've got a heavyweight battle. Augusta Sakai against Dante Mays. Lots of younger fighters coming in, making their UFC debuts, and huge prelim card. What do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fights on the prelim card. Hopefully none of the fights fall off. It's been happening too much lately. There was a couple cancel fights on this past card, but We're less than 2 weeks away from the return of Jon Jones, and he's finally fighting at heavyweight. Much rumored, much talked about, much anticipated. Finally, he's going for the belt against Cyril Gane. Jon Jones is back. Oh God, keep my fingers crossed that nothing happens to derail this fight. Jon Jones, one of the greatest fighters in UFC history, one of the most athletic. Two of his brothers, NFL players. You probably know, if you're an MMA fan, about Jon Jones and all the great things about him. But this is finally happening after Francis Ngannou couldn't come to an agreement with the UFC on a contract. They walked away, and he's a free agent pursuing boxing right now. But this will be the heavyweight champion of the world in less than 2 weeks. So can't wait. Another fight on that card that I mentioned a little earlier. It's the women's flyweight fight. The belt is on the line between the champion Valentina Shevchenko and Alexa Grasso. I think a great fight in the works there. We've got Bo Nickel coming in, the highly touted guy out of the Contender Series, and really excited to see him. Lots of good fights coming on the prelims as well. We get to see former champion in bantamweight Cody Garbrandt against Trevin Jones. Derek Brunson is on the card. Julian Marquez. Cody Garbrandt was supposed to fight Julio Arce, but now he's fighting Trevin Jones, and I think that's just as good of an opponent. Jessica Andrade on the card. Tons of great fights. Dan Hooker and Jalen Turner was supposed to fight, but that has been canceled. We'll see, if everything comes together. But I'm looking forward to Bo Nickel and Jamie Pickett on the main card. Jeff Neal's fighting. Awesome card coming. Lots of great things to talk about. UFC 288 coming up in May 6th. Aldo Cejudo, the return of Cejudo after about 3 years away. Cejudo we haven't seen since UFC 249 when he beat Dominic Cruz. Aljo is coming off 8 straight victories, last beating TJ Dillashaw in UFC 280, his second title defense. Oh man, so excited, looking forward so much to see that. I heard that Khamzat Chimaev is eyeing a return in June or July, so just a little bit after UFC 288, maybe 289, 90. Rumors that it's either going to be Robert Whittaker or Colby Covington. Exciting news there. Yuri Prochazka gave up his belt in the light heavyweight division after he's got a massive shoulder injury. Jamal Hill is the new champion of that division, and we understand that Prochazka and Jamal Hill will be the next fight. They're eyeing it this summer. That should be awesome. Boxing news. I mentioned last week that I heard that it was finalized between Francis Ngannou, who I just mentioned as the former UFC heavyweight champion, will be fighting Tyson Fury. Well, now suddenly I hear that he's agreed to fight Deontay Wilder. So I'm not sure where it stands. I don't know if all the I's have been dotted and T's crossed and what's happened. But we're going to get to see Francis Ngannou against one of these two massive behemoths. And can't wait. Don't know why both fights have been announced as confirmed and done, but we're going to see one of them soon. Also, boxing news: the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships (BKFC) had the debut of Greg Hardy this past weekend, and he got knocked the F out. He got just rocked by John Watson. Second round, laid out Greg Hardy. Might be better for Greg Hardy to try to get the XFL going, maybe USFL, something else, because he's been taking some vicious, nasty knockouts lately, and never good for your long-term health and your brain going forward. I'm a little worried about Greg Hardy, and it was a rough KO. You can find it online. We'll see. I guess finally I do want to mention a legend in the world of NBA and the NFL. Red McCombs passed away yesterday at the age of 95. Former owner of 2 NBA teams and an NFL team. This is a guy that owned like more than 400 businesses, really big with his money, and loved sports. He bought the San Antonio Spurs and owned them for a few years and then sold them, and just bought the Denver Nuggets, had them for a few years, sold them, bought the Spurs again, owned the Spurs twice, and was the owner of the Minnesota Vikings in the NFL as well. So, he loved sports, was really able to continue those franchises in those cities and really help the two leagues prosper. And he will be very missed by many in the sporting world. Survived by his 3 daughters, 8 grandchildren, and 11 great-grandchildren. 95, a very well-lived life. And we'll say a sayonara to Red McCombs. Good luck up there in sports heaven, and hopefully you get to attend a ton of games up there. Anyway, I guess I'm going to end it. That was a solo podcast. Haven't done one in a while. I think the last one I did was when Jason was on the shelf, I think from his car accident, maybe. I think we're going to pull one off tomorrow night. And I hope you'll enjoy this one and enjoy that one. And I appreciate the support as always. I'm going to be able to get you some Complete Media Network, Complete Sports Media. There's can be some swag on the site. You can purchase shirts and hoodies and different things like that. I love our logo on these shirts and stuff. And I remember, as always, we want to thank our partners and sponsors. We love your support as always. I want to thank Anchor.fm, easiest place to make a podcast. Phenomenal at posting on multiple podcast platforms for us. And I wouldn't go anywhere else if you're considering doing a podcast. I want to thank Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company, an industry leader in technology, performance, and value. And the V350 stick is a stick that you need to have if you're a hockey player. It is phenomenal, so light, so much power, and it is just phenomenal to have. I want to thank Pampas Possibilities, a really great company at creating some West Coast vibes and making some pretty things in your home. Spruce it up, make it look great. If you need them, don't hesitate. Give them a call and get them to help you out. And of course, Forever Living, the aloe vera company for health and beauty products, really phenomenal. You can purchase their products on our website at discounted rates. And I recommend many, many, many of them. I'm using them all over my house and love them. So take care of yourself. Have a good week. I hope you had a really nice long weekend. Happy Family Day. Happy President's Day. And I guess I'll see you tomorrow night. Tune in and take care. Love you. Bye for now.